The title does not deceive you. On January 27th, I went to the Chinese theater in Hollywood and saw the movie Iron Lung. I was probably one of the first ever groups of people to see it because when I went in and saw it, it was at 4 o'clock p.m. I went with my dad and we decided to stay for the 7 p.m. showing that I also had booked for unimportant reasons. In the beginning of that showing, as most of you probably know because of TikTok or Instagram, Markiplier came out in front and greeted everybody. I unfortunately didn't make it to the Sherman Oaks showing for the Q&A at the Regal because I had work that day and I wasn't off until 8:30 and the movie was supposed to start at 7. That whole event was supposed to start earlier than the time I got off work. But on that day that I went to the Chinese theater, after the showing, Markiplier was in the lobby and he took a group photo with everybody. Unfortunately, I wasn't a part of that group photo, mainly because even if I was in the background, I'm not tall enough to reach over everybody. I'm about 5'7", and most of the people there were 5'10" to 6'1", I'd say. So I decided, maybe I'll wait a little bit. There was another showing at 9:55. I figured if he was going to show up, he would pop up again in that showing. Maybe I could say hi to him on the way out. I waited, waited, waited. And unfortunately, he didn't. So I went with my dad to go validate our parking ticket. And when we were leaving, he was outside. And so that was when I was finally able to get this photo. After the line cleared, because I didn't realize there was a line, and I apologize for cutting. That was not cool of me. So I waited at the end of the line, and I got this photo. This photo I posted on TikTok, and let me tell you some funny stuff. So with that video came some little bits of controversy, I'd like to call it, on the use of generative AI. There was a few select people that thought that photo was completely AI generated. They said the photo was blurry. I had 2 thumbs. I had multiple fingers. Mark's face didn't look like Mark himself, which is interesting. But I have really good explanations for all of those things. The first one being, and this was another TikTok that I posted, I was holding one of the gloves in my other hand and holding the other one in such a position, it looks like I'm holding up 2 thumbs. I have somebody that can vouch for this as well. Obviously, my dad, the one that took the photo, my friend Dale, who was on the phone at the time, and the metadata from both photos, which is up on screen right now. So, yes, I did meet Markiplier. In the way that you'd expect, not really. It wasn't a lengthy conversation. It was more of just a couple photos, quick snapped, boom, they're done. Because he was in a bit of a hurry. It was after 10 o'clock. I could understand why he'd want to get home. So, now for the second lengthy part of this video. Iron Lung. And I waited to put this video out today because I didn't want to spoil it or anything, and I'm still not going to spoil it. It's going to be a spoiler-free review. So, Iron Lung, I liked it. I've played the game once. I played it back earlier this month, and I will say it looks nearly identical to the game. Now, there are a couple of creative liberties, obviously, that you have to take. The story-wise is somewhat difficult to follow along, but being somebody who's into things like Five Nights at Freddy's, you figure out real quickly how to follow along with it, because if something's confusing, you can with this specifically, it was easier to, with this specifically, it was easier to follow than most films would be of this genre. So I would rate it a 9.5 out of 10. Now the reason I don't rate it a 10 out of 10 is because that just, I don't know. I don't really rate movies 10 out of 10s. Five Nights at Freddy's I didn't rate a 10 out of 10, and um, other movies that I liked I didn't rate a 10 out of 10. So biased opinion aside, I'd rate the movie an 8. Biased opinion aside, because there was a couple confusing parts, but overall, it was still a good movie. And I do urge that anybody who's watching this video, especially if you've watched this far, to try and go and watch it as soon as possible, because it really was a good movie. I can't stress that enough, especially with it being Markiplier's first movie ever made on his own with a team with no studio to back him up, a team of wonderful people. It's really awesome to see how far he's come. The final thing that I do have to talk about is about my TikTok. Now, that TikTok is mainly for animations, and I don't really post on it as frequently as I'd like to. However, one of the most recent videos I posted was that Markiplier image, me and him together. And I've had, again, countless people saying, oh, it's AI, even though I've shown proof that it's not AI. And there's one specific person that is really adamant on it being, but it isn't. And I made a deal with Dale that if that video got 5,000 views before the end of today, which was the official release of Iron Lung in theaters, that I would start weekly uploads, 1 to 2 videos a week. That was absolutely crushed last night, and then some. The video is now over 8,000 views, which is the most amount of views I've ever gotten on a TikTok before. The next deal I made was that if by the end of this weekend, Sunday night, the video had 10,000 views, I would start doing 3 videos a week, or 2 videos and a live stream every week. Regardless of what I'm doing, how busy I am, I will get it done. And so far, it's looking like that goal is going to be hit by the end of today. So here's the deal I'm going to make with you guys. If the TikTok, which I will have linked in the description down below, gets up to 20,000 views by Sunday, then my deal with you guys, 4 videos a week, regardless of where I am, what I'm doing, etc., etc. And if this video gets 100 views, because YouTube isn't as popular as TikTok is, if this video gets 100 views and 5 likes by Sunday night, then I will cut my hair how Markiplier's is cut. Because I've had a few people tell me that him and I look very similar. Now, I don't always see the similarity. You have to have the right angle. I guess I could take my glasses off real quick and we can see. I mean, I don't really know. But that's the deal. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.